Wednesday marked the 2-year anniversary of me making book content with Literati Medium. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about the things that I've learned in the last 2 years. So today I'm going to cover the good, the bad, and the bookish about being a book content creator. So for those of you that are new to my channel, a little bit of background about me. I started this channel 2 years ago as a way to kind of keep me accountable for adding reading back into my life because I felt that this was an area of my life that I was lacking in. Up until that point, I pretty much hadn't finished a book since I graduated college. So there was about a 7-year span where I wasn't really reading at all. The very first piece of book content that I posted was my Booktube newbie tag, which you can watch here if you want. All right, so let's start off with the good things that I have learned since being a book content creator. You will fall in love with reading again. So when I first started making book content, I was shooting for reading maybe 3 books a month, but knew realistically that 2 was probably more likely. Today, 2 years later, that seems like a very small amount. I can do that pretty easily. I would say my average now is more like between 4 and 6. I think the most I've ever read in a single month was close to 20 books, and that's because I was participating in a readathon and it got my competitive nature going. But regardless, I was really glad, and I noticed immediately a positive impact on my mental health simply by adding reading back into my life. You will meet new people. I have met some amazing people through Booktube and doing Books and Battles, which is the D&D charity stream that I've done a few sessions of. And I have just met some of the most incredible people, both who are book content creators and those who are authors. It's been a really great way to meet new people who have similar interests as I do. You will learn to embrace audiobooks. Here's where I'm going to get a little controversial and say, if you are one of those people who says that audiobooks aren't reading, you should probably leave because we won't get along very well. Audiobooks are essential for accessibility to stories. I actually had an experience recently where I couldn't get my ADHD medication and I still really wanted to read, but I physically couldn't sit down and make my brain slow down enough for me to actually read. So the only way I was really consuming stories at all was through audiobooks. Also, in today's world that tends to move way too fast, it can be really difficult as an adult with other responsibilities to find time to read. And having an audiobook playing in my car while I commute or run errands has been essential for me to be able to consume more books. So those are the key good things I think that I've learned since being a book content creator. Let's move on to the bad. You will spend a lot of money. My book spending habits have definitely increased over the last 2 years. I don't even really want to look at the exact numbers, but I feel like I probably spend anywhere between $40 and $50 a month on books, whether it be audiobooks or ebooks or books off of Pango or used books, all the books. And that definitely is a lot for me, especially considering all these books behind me are books that I haven't read. Now, I can proudly say that most of these books, not all, are books that I had before I started my channel. And I have read a few of them because I personally set myself a rule of physical books. I really only wanted to buy new physical books if they were 5-star reads for me. Now, have I stuck to that? No, I haven't. But it has at least helped me in that regard. I will definitely say that the majority of my spending goes to audiobooks. You will be extremely busy if you're trying to make book content. When you're a content creator, it takes a lot of time, and you can probably at least double or triple that time if you specifically want to be a book content creator, because you have to spend the time reading the books. I don't know about you, but an average, say, 400-page book is about 8 or 10 hours of reading for me. Now, I know that I read slowly, but that's what I would say is about my average for one 400-page book. Then you have to add add the time of making the book content on top of it, which is another probably 10 hours a week for me between filming and editing and writing blog posts, which in general, if you want more specific book reviews for a single book, you should check out my blog, literatimedium.com, link down below. So if you're doing this because you're already reading the books and want to create content on it, you're really only adding the content creation time to your schedule, I would say that's probably easier than what I did, where I was also trying to fit reading back into my life while also making content. The last one is one that I know gets talked about a lot in the book content community, but that is you are going to feel pressure to read more. So as I said, one of the reasons I started listening to audiobooks was so that I consume more. If you can just stick to your 1 book a month or 2 books a month, hey, maybe only read 1 book a year, but you will inevitably run across someone who reads a lot more books than you and feel kind of inferior in the book content creator community. I'm not saying that anybody has ever said, oh, if you don't read 250 books in a year, then you're not reading enough as a book content creator. I don't think anyone in the book content creator community would say that. And if they have, they've probably been canceled. I myself last year read 100 books, which is the most books I've read ever. But here I am in June, and while I have surpassed my annual goal of 48 books, I'm still a little bit behind where I was last year. Read at your own pace, read as many books as you can or want, and don't let anyone else pressure you into feeling like you have to read more than you are. All right, now let's move on to the bookish. You will want all the beautiful books. I mean, right behind me, I have the Atlas 6, which was not a 5-star read for me. Did I still need to spend the money for this Illumicrate edition that is gorgeous and has a celestial theme? Yes, I did. Did I buy it also when the second book came out that I have not read, but still need it because of the beautiful celestial theme? Yes, I did. So with so many beautiful book box editions coming out for these books, it's really tempting to want all of them, especially since they really are absolutely gorgeous. Now, I personally am not a huge hardcover reader fan. I prefer reading paperback, but sometimes you will find a decorative edition of a book you love and you will spend way too much money buying it off of Pango Books or Mercari or wherever you buy that. Like I did with this edition of The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. You will find out what tropes you do and do not like in books. And I'm not just talking about romance tropes here. I'm talking about general tropes. Do you like the chosen one? Do you like the old wizard mentor? Do you like there's only one bed? You will find out what tropes you enjoy and don't, because the more you read, the more you're going to recognize the tropes themselves. And that can be a good thing and a bad thing. Sometimes if you're reading a book for review and you're just like, I am not vibing with this, but I agreed to review it, it can be tough and it can be a bit of a slog and maybe put you into a reading slump. Additionally, it's nice because there are so many books out there. I watch other book content creators that I follow, and inevitably in one of their videos, I'll end up putting like 6 of them into my Goodreads TBR. I think my Goodreads TBR at this point is over 2,000 books, which if you ask Google, most people only read 2,000 books in their life. When you know what you will and will not like, you can narrow down the books that you would potentially read because there are just so many, and there are more and more getting released every year. You will find your niche. I am very lucky in that the videos and content that I have done that have been the most successful on my channel are the content that I wanted to create, which was my book versus adaptations. Because the whole point of Literati Medium was that I wanted to show that you don't have to be a book purist. You can still enjoy an adaptation. And sometimes if you watch the adaptation even before reading the book, you're gonna be able to appreciate the adaptation for what it is, and you might actually like the adaptation better. Now, that is a hot take in the book community, I'll admit, but It's the content that gives me the most joy. And so the fact that my viewers get the most out of that content makes me really happy. As you are creating content, I'd highly encourage you to start broad, be an omnivorous reader, watch and consume book content from across the book community, take what you like and make it your own and do your own thing, and you will eventually find how you will resonate with other people in the book community. Speaking of my niche, if you want to watch my last book versus adaptation, you can check it out here. Let's see what stories tomorrow brings.